Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the SheEO Lead-In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of SheEO Lead-In. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in. Today we are here with Licia Vaughn from DLA Piper. How are you today, Licia?
I'm great. How are you doing? And thanks for having me.
I'm wonderful. Very excited to hear a little bit about what you do every day. So why don't you explain? I think your job is a very interesting specialty in law. Could you explain what it is that you do for us?
Yes. So I am trained as an intellectual property litigator. So litigating intellectual property disputes, whether that's patent litigation, copyright litigation, trademark litigation, trade secret litigation. So things that involve an invention or a brand or something fun and exciting like that. But then I also am an executive director. So I still practice, but these days I help other people, which is what I love to do. I help lateral partners who are coming to the firm integrate into our firm and build their sales pipeline. And then I also am in charge of our career opportunities and alumni network. So I help lawyers who are in the firm or alumni who are outside the firm and they want another career opportunity. I help them figure out what that might be. And my team and I help them try to find another role.
So this is outside of law, a totally different career. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Wow.
definitely. Yeah, it's interesting and fun.
That is super cool. So, okay, so switching gears, let's hear a little bit about your childhood. Did you have a fun story you wanted to share with us? Something that many people don't know about you.
Oh boy. Well, I think so. I have 3 siblings, so there's 4 of us, and then a lot of cousins. And we used to have these big Christmases, and I was in charge of all the elves who passed out gifts. So that was a big responsibility.
So were you one of the older grandkids or one of the younger grandkids? I was actually the second oldest. I too have, I want to say 13. I think there were 13 of us. And I think I was the second
Well,
oldest.
I ended up being in the middle. So I got to participate as a junior elf and then graduated to like the Santa role and then had to train others on how to do it and got beyond the both elves and Santa and passed that along.
So you were always a responsible one then.
Yes, exactly.
That's great. All right. So quick question. Do you have one word that you think describes you the best?
Helpful, I think, because if you've ever done the Enneagram test to figure out the type of personality you are, I'm a helper, and that's what I love to do. I love to help people, and being a lawyer and helping clients is helping people. Being and the executive director of lateral integration helps people, and leading our career opportunities and alumni network, I get to help people. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, that career opportunities role is really different. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
It's
really
really
interesting.
exciting, and we're developing new resources for people. How to, things that didn't exist before, like how to prepare your resume or cover letter in such a way that AI doesn't screen you out. It like plops you in. Yeah. So,
AI, that's a whole other conversation. That's just starting to pop up on everything. It's so hard to make it go away. I don't like it myself.
I know. I know that
It's
we
not the
got to
greatest. I don't know.
embrace it and utilize it for our benefit,
Well, as
without letting
long
it control the world.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as it's used for good, I guess maybe I can get on board with that, but not on everything. It definitely doesn't, eliminate those personal relationships that really are vital in our lives.
Oh, definitely. Definitely agree with you.
So, how long have you been doing what you're doing?
Well, that's a good question. I actually started my law career. So I went to University of San Diego School of Law, graduated in 96, and then immediately, well, right after taking the bar exam, the next Monday, I started a clerkship in federal court here in San Diego with a U.S. magistrate judge. James F. Stiven, excellent role model, amazing judge, and I got to be his law clerk for 2 years, and then started with the law firm of Gray Carey, Ware and Friedenrich. And then in 2005, that merged with two other firms to become DLA Piper. So
Mm.
I've been at my place of employment since 1998.
Wow,
So,
a long time. That's
long
a long
time.
time. Yeah. Well, you must be happy. Otherwise, you wouldn't have stayed so long. That's it. That's a
Yeah,
good
I
amount of
work
time.
with really great people,
Hmm.
and my career has been able to morph. And when you're also dealing with intellectual property or great people, it's always fun and fascinating, and you never get bored. So that's a key.
Well, and the fact that you're actually bringing on new talent, I would assume that you probably try to create a team that you like to work with.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely, yeah, and helping them build their teams too. So
Hmm.
I love it all.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about success and also failure, because a lot of times you do need to have some failure to actually achieve that success. So, do you have some examples that you might want to share with us?
Of failure,
Yeah,
yeah.
not necessarily. We don't even have to call it that. I mean, it
Well,
could be.
when you're in the law, you do have, a litigator, you are going to have some failures. And I remember working so hard on this motion and knowing that it was a winner and losing. And I was so upset. My judge was and is a mentor to me. I explained everything to him, and he just said, Licia, I would have ruled in your favor, but sometimes you get a bad judge. And and similarly, when I was on a trial team, and things didn't go as well as we wanted for us one day, um, my one of my mentors, John Alcock, is an amazing trial lawyer. He's retired now, but he he didn't let it bother him. He just went right on. He said, you can't let it get to you. We all did an excellent job. So, we just got to move on to the next. What can we do next? So those were really good lessons and great mentors to have.
Well, I guess to that point, one of the things I would probably mention to our listeners today is, a lot of times people say practicing law, practicing medicine. These are all things that, there are interpretations sometimes that are a little bit different than what you might see as the law. Even though some things seem cut and dried, sometimes they maybe aren't. And, I think that's when we're humans doing these jobs, they do have a little bit of interpretation to some degree, don't you think?
Yes, yes, definitely. And when you highlighted the word practicing, it made me think of a good friend of mine, Holly Smithson, who's the CEO of Athena. And I think, you all might chat with her sometime if you haven't already, but she actually talks about practicing confidence so that each one of us practices our own confidence or any skill we want to develop. And I just love that when she said that.
Well, it's definitely a good thing because truthfully, maybe our listeners don't even know this yet, but a lot of times confidence can get you through some really tough times where
Yes,
if you know the information, but you can't quite articulate it, but if you're confident, you can actually get there.
exactly. Yes, you can. And even if you're not really fully confident, but you can demonstrate that you seem confident.
Fake it till you make it.
Right, because sometimes you might be in front of a scary bunch of people. Like in my first job, I was, after college, my first role after college, I was a financial analyst at General Dynamics Space Systems Division. And I worked on the Titan Centaur program. And here I was, a young woman in my 20s, speaking to a room filled with mostly military men, telling them why their program was overrun and behind schedule. And I mean, I was the financial analyst, not, the engineer or anything, but I had to explain the financial impact of the program, and that was good practice. But even if you're in front of a jury or a group of people or a management team, um, even if you're not fully confident and you're nervous, if you just come off as confident and can tell yourself you got this, you know the material, you can get through it, that goes a long way.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so, talking about, women in leadership, kind of talking about you were in this room full of men that were in the military. Do you oftentimes or occasionally find that when you are in a room of men, do you think that they look at you differently than, say, a room full of women? Or, when you're trying to explain and articulate what it is that you are, whatever your message happens to be at that moment, do you experience that?
Oh, good question. It's interesting because I've had a couple of experiences. So one of the things that I founded here at the law firm was early. So in 2006, there was a Harvard study on the practice of law and how there, are glass ceilings and not enough women in leadership in law firms. And so my mentor, again, John Alcock, said, hey, if this is true at law firms in general, it's got to be even worse in the intellectual property field because there's so many more men in STEM than women. And he said, so we need to solve that problem. I'm going to get you money and you figure out what to do. so,
Nice.
so I started a inaugural program called Women in IP, and we did it up in Silicon Valley, of course. And it was an excellent program that I'm not in charge of anymore, but it has lasted for years. Um, but I led it for over a decade, and here we were in a room filled with women practicing intellectual property law or being in charge of intellectual property at companies, and talking about what's the newest in technology and the law. And it was wonderful. And one woman said to me, this must be what it's like for men, because it's a room
Wow.
filled with women.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I've also been with a group of men preparing to go to trial. We had local counsel because it was in a remote area of the country. And we were at this and the other law firm picking up our local counsel before we went to the courthouse. And I was with three other men. All of us had the same wheelie briefcase, all of us. And we all roll up to reception, and the receptionist looked at me and said, "Are you the court reporter?"
Oh, wow.
And here she was, a fellow woman, asking me if I was the court reporter. So I said, no, I'm one of the trial lawyers going to court today. So like, that was, it was disappointing.
Did you feel like that was a mean girl moment, or do you think it was just honestly she just had a perception that you were not going to be one of the trial lawyers?
I think it was her perception. Yeah, I do. So thankfully, that that was probably about 15-ish years ago. So hopefully that mistake wouldn't be made again. There are so many more women in the legal field and in law school. I think more women are going to law school these days than men. But as far as my mentors, they've actually been mostly men, but one woman. She's a district judge now, the Honorable Kathy Ann Benchavango, but she's an incredible mentor to men and women, to law clerks. She's just an incredible, brilliant woman. And she feels so strongly about mentorship that at her swearing in ceremony, she asked me to give a talk on the value of mentorship. So there was a captive audience there of judges and attorneys and officials, and she wanted the world to understand that mentoring is important.
Well, I totally agree with that. I think, well, kind of to your point of you thought, or that your mentor had said, oh, maybe there aren't enough women in law. I think there's not enough women, honestly, in a lot of these leadership roles across the board.
Yes.
And we really do bring a lot to the table. And
yes, we do.
Yeah. And I think having those conversations of not just men in leadership, but having women in leadership too, there really is a lot of collaboration that really does bring forth better ideas, because you have different perspectives. And I mean, let's face it, men and women do things very differently. I've had recently some conversations where men, not all men, but some men even think that women could be better leaders or are better leaders. I think it's a little bit of everything. It depends on the person, of course, but I think it also depends on, how you're working together with others. And when you are definitely getting a perspective from a man and a woman, I think that it's a much better conversation, and you actually can get to a better leadership skills level wise, and then just overall, organization.
Oh, I agree with you completely. And so that's why I do think we do need to see more women on boards as well.
Definitely.
Because women in management, they get things done. And as you said, that diversity in perspective is very important. And we have women buying, consuming, voting. So it's very important to have that diversity in ideas across all professions and all leadership roles.
Definitely. And and then you've got the roles that are the past that used to be, oh, okay, well, so you're a mom of kids, your role is to be a mom first and then everything after that. I think that that is changing, definitely, but there's also a part where we have to figure out how to balance all of that. How have you been able to balance those things?
Yeah, I know. I have a friend who's like, work-life balance, impossible.
I think it changes too. I don't think it's the same all the time. Sometimes I feel like I'm crushing it. Sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, I'm doing such a poor job right now. Why? Yeah. I don't know. Do you think?
I'm sure you're not, but I think it is something that you have to be aware of. And so what I have done throughout my career, first of all, I think it's great that I have two daughters, that both of them get to see me in life trying to do it all, but making sure that they know that they're important to me, just as important as my job. So when you have downtime at work, what I would suggest is making sure you have, full on family time. Like when you take a vacation, really take a vacation. Let other people fill in for you. It'll be good for them. And then, demonstrate responsibility to your kids, but also making sure that you do have time with them that is not you talking to them while you're actually on your computer, and doing things that are engaging with them, whether that be going to a museum together, or going to your son or daughter's game, or if they're a musician, going to their show, and figuring out what's important to your kids or family member, parent, whomever you're in relationship with, and being there for those important things for them, while you're still also making sure you make time for your roles and responsibilities at work.
Well, Licia, this is being present, right? Actually,
Yes.
when you're there in the moment, actually being present, because let's face it, we women, we actually are pretty good at multitasking, but when you were talking about actually being available and mentally in a relationship, it's hard to be doing that when you're working, because you really need to focus on, being present, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I really try to be very intentional about that too.
Yeah. And one of my mentors too is our current chair of the firm. We used to lead the intellectual property practice group together, where he was the practice group leader and I was his practice group director. And whenever he got a call from his wife, he would excuse himself and take the call, which I loved. I mean, they have 3 sons, she's busy. They're all, he would show the importance of that relationship. And he was, an extremely busy person, traveling. He still is, obviously, but a large portion of his business was in the Middle East and Europe. So he traveled quite a bit. So he showed her a deference and respect, which I thought was wonderful. And really, shows that, so similarly, I try to do that too with my husband and my girls, that, you're important to me. And if I can't take a call, which happened, just this morning, my daughter was trying to get a hold of me. I know she has a show tonight, so I know it's important to her, but it'd be like getting a call now. You're like, can't do it. I'll at least text her, like, call you in 15 or 10.
Yeah, so, definitely. Well, that's, and don't you think though, that creates a culture at the organization too, when you have, because a lot of people will say, oh yeah, family comes first. But if they're not actually showing people that it does come first, and they're not actually modeling that in their behavior,
yes.
Don't you think that it's kind of different?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that you really do need to show it. And being able, like on LinkedIn, I think some of the most fun and most popular shares are when people share, like, oh, I'm coaching my son or daughter's softball game or league or whatever, or it's people appreciate, oh, yes, LinkedIn is professional and you have a professional life, but you also have a personal life, and that's cool too.
Yeah, it's humanizing for sure.
Yes.
So, this kind of leads me to mentoring, role models. It seems to me this, that would be one of the things that you used as a mentoring moment or as a role model of, okay, that's important to me too. I want to bring that into my leadership style. What can you share with us a little bit about other role models or mentors that have helped you create your style?
Yeah, I think my style is very team oriented, and building teams, and being probably quite direct, but also very hopeful. And what I mean by that is, so one of my mentors is actually, again, the current chair of our firm, and I had the opportunity to go to trial with him. And so I was probably, I was the most senior person besides him going to trial. After the first day, or maybe the first day of trial, he told the whole team, okay, this is what you're doing great. This is what you can improve on. I love that. I mean, it's honest. Everyone wants feedback, but a lot of times people are afraid to give feedback. But what I also love is like building that team and helping everyone be better, which was modeled. So on my team, we had my career opportunities, alumni, and integration teams. We all did an event together where we learned from each other and what our career goals are. And so we're all trying to help each other. And a couple of them shared that they have trouble speaking in front of others. So so it's
A
so,
lot of
so
people have trouble speaking in front of others, don't they?
They do. They
Yeah.
do. And so now I'm giving them opportunities to speak in front of others. And they're doing great. And I think practice makes perfect.
And that's how you grow. I mean, let's face it. If you don't, I mean, I do a lot of public speaking. I remember the first few times I was thinking, oh my gosh, why am I doing this job? It's too much public speaking. What was I thinking? And then, it's true. As time goes on, you become more comfortable. I remember the first thing when I went pretty early on, it was 400 people. And I thought, how am I going to talk in front of 400 people? I'm going to be petrified, but I wasn't because I knew my
Yeah,
subject matter. But again, back to your point, practicing and doing it repeatedly really does get you in a more comfortable position. And that is how you take your everything you do to the next level. You become better, you become more articulate because you're more comfortable in your space.
exactly. Exactly. And I just had a meeting before this with one of the folks who had said, at the end of last year that she was, nervous to speak in front of people. And she talked about just what you said, how she felt like she grew
Yeah.
professionally and personally by taking these challenges and realizing, oh, wait a minute, I can do this. It's very rewarding for both, a leader and the other person on the team.
Definitely. So let's talk a little bit about lessons learned that you would like to share with our listeners today. What do you think are some of the most important things that really have propelled you into really excelling at what you do?
Um, well, I guess I would say not being afraid to try new ideas and not being afraid to fail. Like when I started the Women in IP Law event, there was nothing like that at all anywhere in the legal industry. And then once I started it, other little copycats started popping up, which is the best form of flattery, right?
Yeah, definitely.
um, so don't be afraid to try new ideas. I think something you said earlier is also really important, and that's diversity of thought and really getting input from other people on what you can be doing better or differently so that you can continually improve. And that is right now my team's tagline is continual improvement. We're trying to like put that like tagline in everything because we want feedback. Like for instance, I'm integrating brand new people into the law firm. Of course I want their ideas. Like, what are you not getting? What could I be doing better? If you don't know, like think about it later and let me know. So getting continual feedback and not being afraid of that and just wanting to continually improve. Um, uh, having a team because you can do more together as a team, whether that's a trial team or just a team of colleagues or a team of friends. But a team of people can do way more than just one person can. And then I would say also extremely important is connection. And during COVID, that was super hard at first, but then we're even connecting via Zoom. And some people, some of our team members, we actually got to know them better on Zoom because before it was mostly just phone. and they're able to see their dogs, cats, and kids, so making sure you're in connection and in community, and that could mean, I think you should have, whatever your professional organization is, being in a team of people there, but also, be in, legal community. So, I've been on in different legal organizations as either members or a leader. I'm participating in the Federal Bar Association Foundation. I'm on the board there. I am an active participant in this Women in STEM organization called Athena. And Athena is going global and connecting them to people I know who could help them go global. I mean, just connecting, because you never know how someone you might meet through one of those connections might impact your life or someone around you. I mean, just more and more ideas and thoughts. So being in community and in connection with people and building that network.
Definitely, 100%. And one thing I'd like to add to that is not everyone being exactly the same, because you kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, the diversity of thought. I think, a lot of people try to seek out people that are exactly like them. I always I always give this advice: try to find people that are in the industry or in a friendship circle or something that you feel like are maybe doing a little bit better than you, because you continually need to grow. And for you to become the best version of yourself, you have to have people pushing you to your limits, pushing you to do better, pushing you to, hey, you know what? You have that dream. You can get that dream, but you've got to do a few things to get there. I think having that, continually pushing yourself to a higher level is really important.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I love seeking out wisdom in relationship with people who you view as doing a better job. And because they'll help you grow. And I believe that you will find that you can help them grow too.
Absolutely. Even if they're younger than you too, and you feel like maybe they don't know. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't learn anything from them. They're younger. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, you can, because you'll become more relevant. And, as the world is changing, you'll evolve in a way that actually is going to help you at the end.
Yes. Anyway. They can teach you how to better use Instagram and your phone.
Oh, gosh. No kidding. So, Licia, quick question. What's next on your journey? What do you got in your pipeline?
Well, continuing to grow in my role at the law firm, and then outside the law firm professionally. And then really as a wife and mom too. My husband has a completely different career. He is a consultant in the nonprofit space, which is really interesting. And, learning from him, because he does executive leadership consulting as well. And then with my daughters, it's really about discovery. I would say this is the year of discovery for them. My daughter is a singer-songwriter, and she's an amazing songwriter. And I'm hoping she gets discovered, and just supporting her in her, quest to be able to support herself being a singer-songwriter, although she is still in college at Berklee College of Music. And then for my older daughter, supporting her in her career goals. And she, kind of wants to switch it up. So she's back at school now and learning a very technical career with something like graphic user interface for software.
Wow.
I can definitely learn more about that. But continuing to be, supportive to them in their discovery of their careers, and then just continuing to grow in my own.
That's wonderful. Well, a lot of evolution there, I think, too. I think a lot of people, like your oldest daughter, are looking at different careers, and it's okay to make a change if you are not quite satisfied, or you find something that, you're passionate about. Maybe you haven't explored. I think it's a good thing to always look into it and figure out, can I do something that is going to fulfill me more and I'm going to be happier? Because I think you excel more when you do that.
I agree. It's if you're passionate about what you do, there's so much more room for growth and changing the world.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Licia. Really appreciate our conversation today. And thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, and look forward to connecting again at another event. And thank you to the team. Really appreciate all you're doing with the SheEO program and helping get wisdom and knowledge and connection out there.
Yeah, thank you.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with SheEO host, Rebecca Jones.